Good morning, or good afternoon for you.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, George. This is Benoit calling. Ben, how are you doing?
Good, Benoit. So, good morning to our colleagues who are in Canada, US. Good afternoon, our colleagues in East Africa. Mid-afternoon in West Africa. We are into this webinar series that we want to discuss on issues about inclusivity and how we support the cooperatives in the continent. One of the key things that we've done to have this kind of knowledge platform is to find ways of supporting inclusivity and using the cooperative model to spread the word that we are able to do things jointly. And knowing very well that cooperative is a model that empowers people without exclusion. We decided as a Accosca to do this kind of presentation with the Cooperative Development Foundation of Canada, who've worked closely with Accosca from the time that Accosca got revived. And they've supported and seen that Accosca develop governance frameworks across the continent. We've worked with them through the regulatory issues in the continent. We've worked with them through helping us reduce the gender disparity across the continent, and of recent a couple of initiatives that we're doing. And I'm glad that we have the executive director of CDF, Cooperative Development Foundation of Canada, who will give us a keynote presentation on this webinar on various ways that we need to support inclusivity and how CDF, together with Accosca, are working to see that this is promoted across the continent. With that, I'll go straight to ask Benoit to get on into his presentation. But I'd like to remind those who are there that we'll have poll questions. And the poll questions, we'll have 3 poll questions. And the idea around is to collect the views on what we think in those particular areas that we are going to ask. And then secondly, is if you have a question, there's a place that you're able to raise your hand, you just press that. If you have further question, you're able to use a chat section, send a question to the team so that they're able to pick the areas that you like Benoit or other presenters to respond to. So the first presentation we're having Benoit to do a presentation on building synergies to promote inclusivity in cooperatives. Welcome,
Thank you,
Benoit.
George. Thank you very much, George, and good afternoon and good morning from here in Canada. I'm indeed the executive director of CDF Canada, the Cooperative Development Foundation of Canada. A quick word on the organization. We exist since 1947, and it was created by co-ops and credit unions in Canada, building on the co-ops principles in order to provide support and help to their sister co-ops and credit unions and cycles all over the world. Now, CDF has been working for several years with Accosca, and actually this collaboration for me is a perfect example on how working together is important. Like building synergies is important. Accosca is now under the wise leadership of George, and it's an example to follow. It is a very good organization that we love to work with. It's always important to remember that structures are very important, governance are very important. You need to have those in place, but one must never forget that people you have is also very important when it comes to success of an organization. You can have the best bylaws in the world. If the people that make the organization do not believe in it, well, it's just a piece of paper. This is also why inclusivity is very important. You need to have the buying from the people. And to have the buying from the people, you need to represent all the people. So that being said, as an introduction, inclusivity, gender equality in cooperative and cycles and credit unions. So the first question I always ask, when we start with this type of workshop is, well, the first question is maybe the basic one, but why? Why do we want to be inclusive? Why is it important? Why is gender equality important? Well, I can see several reasons, but there's three main reasons, I would say. First of all, it's a question of justice, of equity. In Africa, well, I think women account for 80% of the food production, but they only own less than 1% of the land, and they can only get 10% of all the credit that is offered to small-scale farmers. Now, COP is a great way to address this gap. While there are also way more women in cooperative than men, there are fewer women in leadership positions. So it would be just think about it. It was just to address this leadership gap. So that's one type of argument that you can have. The other one is, and that is a very the first argument is a very ethical one, but the other one is maybe a bit more self-serving, but it still works well. It makes economic sense. It benefits the cooperative and it benefits the members. There is a lot of studies that shows that gender equality increases productivity and it creates a great positive environment, and that treating men and women equally makes good economic sense. There is solid evidence that the productivity, income, and quality of life of a person who's a member of a cooperative increases. You want your member to become richer, so the cooperative is also becoming richer. And your member, mainly a woman though, for some co-ops, or a lot of your members are women. It would therefore make more economic sense to have more women in the leadership position. And think of this, if the leadership is mainly male, everything that issues that concern women are left on the shelf. We don't know. But if your majority or a big part of your membership or your clients are females, you want to know what matters to them. So it's important that this is why I would say it makes good economic sense to have gender equality. There's also another reason, which is very much linked to the cooperative movement. It is the cooperative tradition of democracy, of equality among members. One of the first, the Rochdale pioneers, who one of the first co-ops ever created. Well, 2 years later, they had a woman member, and she had exactly the same and equal membership rights as a male members, and that was in 1846 in England, where that did not go. That was not evident. So there is a tradition there in the co-op movement to strive for gender equality. So there's lots of reasons for cooperative to consider gender equality as an instrument to create workplaces that are safe and attractive, but to staff member, but also answering to their members. It's not only for the sake of women. It is important, of course, but it's also for the sake for a viable, dynamic cooperative movement. Women must be part integrally in the leadership of cooperative development. So that is why that is one of the things we work on here at CDF. We tend to work on gender awareness, gender sensitivity. There's trainings, there's activity. I'll talk a little bit more about this. Please note, this is a worldwide issue. It's not only in Africa, it's not only in Asia, it's also here in Canada. There is a difference, an imbalance sometimes. People have to work on this. I know Canadian co-ops still working on this, still seeing this as something they have to work every day. So, why is it? Well, the other question you want to ask, I think, is why is there? I mean, why is there no gender equality in co-ops and cycles right now? Why is it so difficult? Why is it still difficult here in Canada? There's lots of reasons as to why it's difficult to be inclusive. It's not sometimes a fault of people. Sometimes there are legal constraints. Although usually, the cooperative laws and regulation are kind of gender neutral. They don't really care whether the members are a woman or man. But in reality, it is clear that women are kind of ignored. There is nothing positively done to encourage their participation usually. And it's easy to turn around gender neutral norm so that you adapt if you want to, you can maneuver so that you can ignore gender inclusivity. If you look at the legal constraint, the legal barrier for genders or gender equality, it's sometimes more indirect. So it can be written sometimes in the bylaws, in the co-op's bylaw. There can be in some bylaws you can see, well, only one member per family can be a member of the cooperative, and usually, because of culture, because of tradition, that member would be the male. It's the first choice there. So women are not a member, or they don't have the same rights. Or they don't have the possibility to become members. In agriculture, in agri-co-ops, often you'll see that, but still, that membership requires that you are a landowner of some kind. And land ownership is women are very underrepresented when it comes to land ownership. So they cannot join the co-op. So it's not that the law is against the co-op by the woman equality. It's more that everything that's around, all the barriers that we put there sometimes not knowingly, make it that it can very quickly become a male club. The other reason, the other constraint we can see is that, there's the role of women traditionally in many countries. It's not to be part of co-ops, it's more to be a mother, and they don't have the time, because of their traditional role, all the things they have to do. They don't have the time to go to those meetings. They don't have the time to be part of a governance body. And in Latin America, we have projects in Latin America. We have a project in Colombia. It's very present. There's a lot of you can call it a machismo culture, where women will stay, take care of kids, and just take care of what's going on in the house. And it's a lot of work, and they are pressured, and they don't have the time to participate in co-ops. And if they do participate in co-op, well, people around them say, well, you have time, so it means you're not a good mother. I was in Colombia last year, and we have a project there. We had a project there. We closed it, a successful project, and I met with the women who are part of this women co-op, the coffee producer, and it's a great success. This co-ops. We help them with technical support and governance support. We help them build their governance infrastructure. But I had this meeting with this director, a woman, and then there was the financial director, a woman, and it was just women at the table. I wasn't a woman, but everybody else was. And I was asking, what was it that was the most useful for you as a person working with CDF? I mean, we provided some machineries, it's the technical support, we increased the yield in there, or we helped them open a small coffee shop. And she said, no, the most useful, the most useful is this. Just talking to you. I can talk to you, I can talk about my business, I can look at you in the eyes, and I can tell you what I think. And you have to take it. And I thought, well, that's great. She was, before that, she told me that she felt like she was embarrassed or she felt uncomfortable just talking like this. But she was now a businesswoman, and all those women being part of this club were business women. And this is something that she felt was the main takeaway from this experience. So traditional role of women can be also an impediment to this gender equality. And the other thing, of course, is access to resources. Women usually have less access to resources than men. Actually, in microfinance, we notice as a general view that women are seen as a credit risk sometimes. In the majority of microfinance institutions, you actually have a higher interest rate if you're a woman. It can be 10% a month in total. So that can deplete your savings quite quickly. And that makes you are not making the loan. You're not taking the loan, of course. So the fact also that you have in Kenya, for example, I understand you have way less access for women to the formal financial system, but SACCOs are a way to break this, and there's more access there for women. They do work, SACCOs for women. They tend to be more accessible than standard bank, and they are locally based and culturally closed to the individuals. They are less intimidating. It's less like formal than the banks, and they offer a better loans, more suitable loans, enabling a woman to access savings and loan services. But that is where the co-op will provide will have a role in terms of providing gender inclusivity in society as a whole. Now, in order to do this, we all have to keep it in mind, and we have ourselves to apply gender and inclusivity within the co-ops and the SACCOs. Now, what do we do at CDF? I mean, what are the things that we've been doing in terms of gender inclusivity? We've been in this business for several years. As George mentioned, we've been working with Accosca for a long time. And actually in a very successful relationship. We currently have several projects in Ghana, in Ethiopia, in Malawi, in Tanzania, that I can talk about a little bit to say what we do exactly, how we work on this. But there's only one thing that's very important to remember when you do this, is that if me, CDF, or Accosca, or anybody comes from the outside of the co-op or the SACCOs, we come there and we say, you have to do this. If you try to impose things, it doesn't work. Again, this is all about the human element. You need, of course, you need the rules, you need the framework, but you need the buy-in of the people. You need the buy-in of the members, and the buy-in of the co-op governing bodies. You need actually, and to do that, you need to show why gender equality and inclusivity is important, why it works. And I believe that, if in terms of inclusivity, sometimes seeing is believing. So you can have activities. That's why we have those activities where we show things that work. So we have in fostering each other contract in a project in Ghana, we had with what we call role model families, where you had this family, a man and a woman, and they became role model. They model families, so they share the task, the chores and stuff within the families. And they went from village to village and to say, this is how it works. And the husband was cooking. And everybody in the village was very surprised to see that. And what's more surprising, that is apparently the food was very good too. So everybody was seeing that this is actually working. But you need to see it. It's always the best way to make it work. Whether it's that, you need the buy-in. That's a very important thing. So I can talk a little bit about one of the projects that we have in Malawi. It's called Invest Malawi. Now, this is a country, and this is a place where we did have, tradition and customs that do not have a very good impact on gender equality. It's very dominated by patriarchal framework. Men are considered the sole owner of land and property, and this dominant decision maker in the places where we worked. So it was difficult to start with, but women in Malawi, according to the Malawi database data, is that 70% of them, they constitute 70% of the full-time farmers, and they do 70% of the agricultural work, and they produce 80% of the food used for home consumption. So women are very important in terms of nutrition security, food security, but their access to production factors like inputs, like capital, like land, like fertilizer, technologies is limited. This is where we try to work to provide this access. And we worked in all of those factors, right? We had several activities there. I can tell you we had some gender training activities, and we introduced the use of gender champions. That's the champions. Again, seeing is believing. And the champions were the co-op members that they were chosen. Well, they decided to do it, of course. They were chosen, and they promoted gender equality at the cooperative, but also at the community level. And they continue. They've continued to promote this with a lot of success. There is now it's year 4 of this project. There's been a notable improvement in the economic well-being of women, but also of the family and of the community. See, it's not like if women are getting richer, then somebody else has to be poorer. Absolutely not. Everybody actually sees its revenue increase. We also did a lot of activities related to behavioral change. So we tried to instill confidence in women and awareness, self-awareness. So I think Donna Miller will talk later on about the Women Mentorship Program, for example, but this was a project that does exactly that. I mean, yes, it provides technical. It is a project where we have women who work in SACOs, and they can come in Canada and they're going to work in trade unions in Canada, and there's going to be workshops, they're going to learn a lot. But one of the main takeaways of the project for the women who are part of it, and we will be happy to hear several of the alumni, one of the main takeaways is that, it builds your confidence. You can do it. You see that you're totally capable of doing this. You're going to create union in Canada. You'll see sometimes the CEO is a woman, and they're doing well, quite well. So that is something very difficult to assess, but that is this where the seeing is believing comes to play. So we do have activities with gender champions in the Invest project. We provide knowledge and skills and capacity building and record building and financial literacy for the co-op members. and we have several activities that we try to encourage women to become leaders in their own co-op. So as I said, it works. I mean, 65%, I mean, we have some results. 65% of the women who participated in the project, well, they know that there was an increase in decision-making and control over agricultural resources for women. And, you know, the male participants, they reported, they said, well, they consult more with their wife before making a decision that affects their household. And they come to realize that it's important. They can, as men, they can not notice something very important when it comes to the use of the money at home, the misuse of the money, or something could be brought at a later stage. So there is a much more, the collaboration between spouses is also improved. Now, usually in Malawi, it seems that men and women consider that they do kind of share the agricultural task equally when it comes to agriculture, except maybe for market participation, because it's more complicated for women sometimes to go to the market if it's far. There's a security issue. But the handling of the earning now was a bit more difficult, and now it's slowly shared. It's done together too. 70% of the women participants, they report an increase in confidence and self-awareness, and this is due to the work we went through when it comes to increasing the number of women in leadership roles. You know, and that really not only show the women that they can actually do this, but also they show the male that it's actually sometimes very positive for the co-ops, of course. So one of the things is in this project, we've seen not only an increase in terms of food security and of revenues, but of self-awareness and of confidence, self-confidence. Furthermore, I mean, there is a part in this project where there is financial access to financial services, and this is where you see that cycles are very important when it comes to inclusivity. You know, the project worked with cycles. There were about 14,000 cycles member that joined through the project, and 45% of them were women. And we really targeted and encouraged that. I can talk for a long time with this. You know, out of the 49, we were with 49 co-ops at the end of the project. You know, 46 of them at gender, you know, were way better when it comes to gender equality, inclusivity. Percentage of women and men on the board was much more reflective of the membership. Now, as I said, also there was an increase in economic empowerment. I'm gonna maybe, I don't know if I have a long time to talk about this, but I can talk maybe of another project, which is the fostering. Fostering, this is a place where, this is a project in Ghana where we work with cycles and credit unions. In fostering, we work with the Ghana Credit Union Association, and we to develop and revise the credit union of Northern Ghana. North Ghana is a marginalized place, and it's the highest poverty rate in comparison to the rest of Ghana, and there were very little financial institutions. Now, through the project, we created created, supported, or helped develop 9 credit unions. So they grew their membership to 50,000. You know, and out of 50,000, 28,000 were women. So that provided access to finance to women, which enhanced inclusivity, of course. And that entailed an increase in revenue, about 148% increase for the women over the 3 or 4 years of the project. Those credit unions are profitable, by the way, they are sustainable. 47% of the leadership in those credit unions is filled by women. So we did there, and the interesting part is that because of the fact that there was a buy-in, go back to this, and leadership was aware of the situation of women. You know, there were special products that were developed. So there was a woman microfinance loan for small business and food processing, and that was, you know, specifically targeting women, and the delinquency rate was 0%, which is pretty good. So one wonders why would women have to pay more to do microloans, but take microloans, but whatever. So that's another project where we see that by fostering inclusivity and gender equality in the community, in the membership, but that goes with, of course, the leadership too of the co-op. Well, it's a win-win for everybody. I can go for a long time. I think Donna Miller will talk about another project we have. I'm sure Donna Miller will talk with the Women Mentorship Program in greater detail. And I also want to mention here the fact that this is a continuous work. We will be working with Accosca on a new project. It started this year, but because of COVID-19, things have been delayed a little bit, of course. The project is called Voice, and this is a very different type of project. It is a project where we will be able to send Canadian co-operators and Canadian SACCOs leaders in several countries in Africa, and we will respond to the needs of the communities. So it's in Kenya, in Ghana, in Ethiopia. We will reach out with Accosca. We will decide, as you know, we will see what are the needs in those countries. Maybe a credit union, a SACCOs would need, an Apex organization would need some support in terms of developing, by the way, a gender inclusivity policy and increasing this. Well, then once we know there is this need, we can try to look in Canada to see if somebody can do it and can go and work with the SACCOs to help them. But it's also in other field, of course. It could be technical support, IT or whatnot. So this project is Voice, and it's going to launch very time soon. And it's going to be in cooperation with Accosca when it comes to the financial co-ops. I think I've done my bit, and I'll be happy to answer the question you might have later.
Thank you, Ben. One of, in summary, for me, one of the key things that I've clearly picked that we really needed to show is with inclusivity, we are going to achieve, or in some way, get into the cooperative development, in particularly the growth and development of financial cooperatives. One of the things that I know Ben has explained much about the gender equality and also the rural financing in Malawi. Currently there is an IFAD project that CDF and Accosca implementing in Ethiopia, Malawi, and Tanzania. And our focus here is to see that while we normally have most of the SACCOs in the urban setup, we are also trying to see that the rural SACCOs, or where we have rural community, they benefit from the SACCOs philosophy. So more of supporting rural-based SACCOs. In the continent, you have more of growth of the financial cooperatives in the urban places. For instance, if you talk about Kenya, most of the SACCOs will be Nairobi, Ghana, Accra, Kumasi, you can name it, all the countries, Lilongwe, Blantyre. So ours is to see that there is that continuous growth. And with CDF, we are working towards these particular areas, not just gender. We are working on also building statistics for the continent, developing various mechanisms to have credible statistics so that to enable us make the right decisions. And just to get into a more detail in regard to the practical ways that we've worked, we have a program called Canadian Women Mentorship Program. And on the screen, you're able to see Donna Miller, who we've worked with closely from CDF. And over the past couple of years, a number of African women have gone through this particular program, and we like to see the relationship. So we'll have a brief presentation from Donna, and then 3 recipients from Africa who've gone through the program. So kindly, I'll ask Donna to go ahead with her presentation. Donna, please go ahead. Sorry, we don't seem to hear you.
Oh, is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's okay now.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much, George, for inviting me here today. I appreciate it very much. The opportunity to be able to talk about Women's Mentorship Program is always delightful for me. It's something that I'm very passionate about and very pleased to be part of. I'll just give you a brief overview of the program. I think hearing from previous participants will be very valuable and interesting to hear how the program has impacted their life. The program launched in 2002. Wherein we've delivered 19 sessions of Women's Mentorship Program to date, with over 250 women credit union managers who have been through the program, and 24 countries that we have covered in this program, which include Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Rwanda, Eswatini, Seychelles, Malawi, Tanzania, the list goes on. We have an extraordinary participation in the program. The program is 4 weeks in length. The first 2 weeks that the ladies arrive in Ottawa, they're in a classroom setting. They learn from wonderful speakers that come from the credit union sector. There are generic topics like human resources, marketing, governance, and other, and very specific topics that they cover as well from experts in the areas of credit union. I think savings, mobilization, I think there's fraud. There's a number of things that they cover during that time. Then from there, they go somewhere in Canada to a credit union where they spend 10 days in the credit union, being able to practice or utilize the skills that they've learned, and also observe the day-to-day operations of the credit union as well. We're very pleased because not only do they have the opportunity to be in the Canadian Credit Union, but they are also hosted in the homes of an employee or and their family, or just the employee as well. So they have an opportunity to experience the community and the culture in Canadian household family. So we're always really grateful to our hosts. Not only do they have a full agenda for our participants when they're in their credit union, but they also have them in their homes. They cover all expenses. They pick them up at the airport, provide the accommodations. So it is a very robust experience, and we're very pleased with that. And then in the final week, they come back to Ottawa, doing a debriefing, seeing how they did. We get a little bit of lessons learned that they share. And I just want to say that there are several of the participants who actually are still in touch with the credit union where they were placed during the period they were in Ottawa. And even some of the hosts have made a trip to the credit union and the person subsequent to that. So it's quite a tight and solid relationship that's built during that time. The other is that we've done some enhancements over the last few years, and one of them is that we bring back two graduates from the program, where they have an opportunity to mentor the new participants, to do presentations of their own, and most importantly, learn the program and how to facilitate the program, so that they have an opportunity to be able to share this program when they go back into their respective countries. So that was really good. I think some of the enhancements that we've done, this and beyond that, are demonstrated in the amount of applications. I think over the years, we've probably had at the most maybe 40 applications. And in the last few years, we have up to 125, and this year even more applications from around the world. So we're very pleased that the program is gaining a lot of traction and interest around the world for the ability. Again, this is a very unique opportunity for women credit union managers to come and have a professional development opportunity in Canada. So we're really, really pleased with that. And again, it's a long-standing program. One day, my dream is that I would hope to be able to select some of the hosts to actually make a visit to the participant credit union. I think that would be a great reciprocal opportunity, and also expand on the ECHO programs, which means we deliver the program in country as well. So all these things that we're working on to really enhance the project as well. I've only been directly exposed. I've been at CDF for about the last 7 years, I think now, but more involved in half of that with Women's Mentorship Program, and had the opportunity and honor to meet the participants who come here. And I'm always just amazed at the talent, at the confidence I see that grows over the 4 weeks that they're here. They also get an opportunity. We have speakers that come in and talk about their personal experiences. I know that I do that. I go in and talk about my own career path as a woman over the years. So it really is a great program. I also want to take the opportunity to share to everybody that we're in the process of developing 2 other enhancements with the, the Canadian Credit Union Association and their Q-Source training development team as well. One is a governance training program where all the modules will be online, so everybody would be able to access that program, learning about the governance aspect of the business, and there would be a certificate for successful completion of the program to anybody that participates. So we're just working on that and hope to have that ready by fall to launch, as well as a mentoring platform also that they're going to provide us, which will be leveraging this mentoring platform that the CCUA use for their national mentorship program in Canada, but it will be opened up for people to link to a mentor, and depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for more knowledge in human resources or a specific part of the credit union business, you'll be able to do a search and find those people and have a mentor and have that ongoing opportunity to grow. And it's open, it's not a specific length of time, it's just a mentor-mentee program. So we're very excited. We hope to have that ready as well in the fall or early in 2021. So all of that, all good things, all very promotional of women becoming strong leaders and being participatory in communities and in their work. So very excited. And I as well am very open to any questions, but would be remiss if I didn't thank George and the Accosca team. They're very instrumental in the success of this program. They help me to reach out to people, to identify participants in the program, and to connect with those people as well. So without their help, it wouldn't be as successful as it is. So again, thank you, George, and your team for your help and support of this program. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna. And just as trying to explain the value of Canadian Women Mentorship Program, which has become quite popular. One of the things that Accosca board has put as a key agenda is to see that there is equality, and gender disparity or gender issues is one of the topical issues that Accosca is handling. Thank you for that, articulating that so well. So then we'll quickly engage to find our thoughts from you in terms of responding to these particular polls. Kindly just select what is applicable. We'll have 2 polls to help us gauge how we're doing. We have embraced inclusivity in our organizations by 1, you can select offering equal opportunity to all. We've reached out to the youth as 2, affirmative action in women leadership. And if there's any other form of you've encouraged inclusivity, if it's digitalization encourages that, or any other form, you can send us a message on info. So I'll request you to kindly select the option that is applicable. Just click on the option that is applicable. While you're doing so, then maybe you can just go straight to the results. The results that we have shows that we're embracing equal opportunities for all. That is in regard to the way the operating principles are. Reaching out to the youth, 24%. Affirmative actions in women in leadership, 16%. So perhaps this might show, if we talk about gender disparity, I indicated that the board has focused on gender disparity as a key thing. It's clear that this is an area that we need to work on, and the partnership and collaboration with CDF and Canadian Women Mentorship Program is one of the critical ways that we will hope to achieve this kind of area. So let's go to the second poll. And the second poll is just to see the level of our engagement, listening to Benoit's presentation from our collaboration with CDF. Select an area Accosca and CDF may offer to support your circle's ability to respond to crises and remain resilient. One, it could be provide technique to support food security. Two, provide techniques to access the market. The third one is training in products that will respond to the current situation. We are looking at COVID as a disruptor, and we could have many other versions of COVID-19, or other techniques that will encourage sustainability during hard times like this, which again, I say we are saying these are disruption. Africa continued to experience disruptions at many levels, from floods to occasionally political uncertainty, to bad weather in terms of climate shifts. We're not able to support our farmers in one form or the other. So it's bigger than that. The last one, if you have any other point, you could send us in any comment on info@Accosca. So again, kindly select that. This helps Accosca and CDF you've had the projects that we are having, like voice projects and many others, even the one that Donna is mentioning, how we can then relate to see that we serve our members in a more inclusive manner and support inclusivity in the continent. So kindly just select the one that is relevant to you. From these, we have less in terms of food security. I don't know if this is because it's not a priority. The other one is to provide access to the market. The bigger part is, which you've seen, is trading in products that respond to the current environment, and other techniques on sustainability during such times. And other techniques could be many other issues in terms of liquidity management, building a liquidity framework, a risk management framework. And again, we will work with CDF to see that this can be done in a very more progressive manner. I'd like to encourage those who still have points as we continue these presentations. You can send your points through info@accosca.org. So with these polls, I will then move on to the next phase. As we talk about inclusivity, not just because of gender, you could tell we need to help support our membership. What you're seeing on the screen is what our members are facing from food security, lack of access to the market. Our circles will struggle in terms of product development and, of course, development of sustainability. So under these, as a Accosca, I'm able to say that looking at the number of participation, those who are in this particular webinar session understand we're over 150, probably the largest we've had. We have participation. I know I've seen our friends from Trinidad, Tobago. We've seen friends from Asia. So it means inclusivity is something that cuts across, not just Africa. So we've been joined by our colleagues all over because of that understanding that our model is about inclusivity. Now, then how have we seen the participants who've gone through Canadian Women Mentorship grow? We've picked 3 that will share their experience briefly. We'll ask Dorothy from Uganda. Then after Dorothy, we'll have Precious from Nigeria, and then Gugu from Eswatini. So I'll request Dorothy just to give a brief remark, just a few minutes. Is Dorothy here?
Yes, I'm
if
there.
Not, we can... Okay, that's
yes,
fine then.
I am. Thank you so much. I'm unable to share my photo. My apologies. Thank you so much, CEO Accosca. Thank you so much, CDF, for this opportunity to share my experience with the CDF Women Mentorship Program. I must say it has really made me able to freely express myself, like the CEO CDF has already shared. I can freely share my experience. So my name is Dorothy Namirembe from Uganda, East Africa. I work with YSAVE Multipurpose Co-operative for the past 15 years. Being a mother of 3, a wife, an employee, and an advocate for women, there is a lot that you need to do, and work-life balance has always been my biggest challenge before I'd gone for the Women Mentorship Program. But during the Women Mentorship Program, I'm an alumni of 2017, I was able to learn how to balance my life. Like the director has shared, we usually have training programs. We have classroom training. I could learn more about work-life balance, but majorly I was attached to Kendrick Credit Union, where I was hosted by a wonderful family, Rebecca Smith. I must thank you so much. And I could literally observe how she could balance her life, having more roles than I could even have. So after having learned that during the Women Mentorship Program, I was able to come back home and share with my husband that some of the things I've learned through Women Mentorship Program is to buy a washing machine, get a dishwasher, get a microwave, and be the wife in the home, the mother in the home, while not compromising on my call for cooperative movement. So behold, I went and really had that. And as I talk, I can easily balance my work thanks to this program that has really helped me. Secondly is the professional growth. Have professionally grown because of this program. I can actually equip others through training. And above all, during this program, before you join it, you are asked 3 major things that you want to see in your cooperative. And that is my cooperative, YSAVE, Multipurpose Cooperative that I work for. So our major challenge was succession planning, getting leaders to take on leadership roles. And through that training, we were able to come up with a leadership development strategy that we have already implemented in our cooperative, shared with other circles in the country, and we have also shared it with our union. They are happy to embrace the system, and I'm certainly sure this leadership development program that I learned through the Women Mentorship Program can also help the African cooperatives, because succession planning is not only in Uganda, but in Africa. So that's one of the things that I learned, and it has benefited our cooperative. Then when it comes to other things that we do in our institution, I was reminded that last week we needed to come up with a clear communication and marketing strategy. All I needed was to contact my hosts, Kindred Credit Union, ask for a policy, a draft and everything, and also other credit unions in Canada, and we were able to be availed with the resources. And as we talk, we didn't need to reinvent the wheel, but only develop on what exactly we have got from our sister credit unions. Then in 2019, I was also called back. We thank CDF. I still thank CDF for that opportunity to be a trainer. I was trained to be a facilitator of the Women Mentorship Program. And when I came back together with my colleague Mercy, we were able to launch the first ever Women Mentorship Program in the country, which is also an opportunity for the rest of the women in the cooperatives in Uganda. We were able to train 15 ladies, and as I talk, one of our ladies through this training is able to stand as a women member of parliament, and we are very proud of that. And this could only be possible because of the Women Mentorship Program that we are equipped with confidence, which we could pass on to the rest. As I conclude, I would also say my leadership skills have also grown. When I came back, I was given an opportunity to oversee the Association of Professional Cooperative Managers. I'm happy to give my resources that I learned and also steer this. I'm also helping and guiding other ladies to take on leadership programs. I really want to thank, I cannot explain Women Mentorship Program impact on me, on my community, and on my cooperative in these few minutes. But I must say, it has impacted me in and out. I'm very confident. I'm ready to move with the cooperative movement. I want to thank Accosca. Accosca, thank you so much for putting up initiatives for the women. And through CDF, we have been equipped. And I must say, we are different. And in conclusion, I want to thank the Canadian government that makes this program possible. I want to thank the CDF. I want to thank Accosca. I can't forget our host credit unions. They can never know what they do for us. We learn a lot by doing, and my cooperative, YSAVE, that gives me the opportunity to grow in the leadership fraternities. Thank you so much, and
thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Dorothy clearly has benefited from Canadian Women Mentorship Program, from being confident and getting a balanced life. But what I pick from knowing Dorothy is a leadership capability and ability to interact and engage in a non-threatening way in Uganda and even African Cooperative Women Network Group. That I think she's picked well from this particular program. So I'll then move on and to ask Precious from Nigeria. Again, just briefly. Is Precious in?
Yes, unmute yourself, please.
If Precious is not ready, we can have Gugu from Eswatini. Then we'll come back to Precious. Precious or Gugu?
Gugu, if you could unmute yourself, please, so that we can hear you.
She's actually unmuted.
Okay, George, back to you. We could come back to them later.
Okay, that must be a technical challenges there. And again, for me, I'll just go back to emphasize that our model is about inclusivity. Inclusivity, we picked up, the reason why we picked out the women is because, as you heard even from Ben, to me, it makes business sense to engage in that framework, but it goes more than just business sense. Yeah, I think it's just the right thing to do. One of the things that we've observed when we started engaging with CDF, the challenges that we experience is there's a meeting that we had, the first meeting Congress after revival we had. Out of over 400 participants, we were close to around 20 women, and the rest were male. So that was the first wake-up call that the continent, we had to think through these. And there were all indications that among the people who save, you could tell the ratio, the higher percentage of people who save, we normally say these are women. But of course, those who borrow, most of the time is male. So the issue that we are discussing to see that there's women involved as one of the form of supporting inclusivity, we are doing so because we know it is key to support what the cooperative model is all about. So as we wait for the next, for Google and Precious, I'll then just engage with Donna. I know I'm seeing two questions being asked. One, Donna, what are the challenges that you've experienced when implementing the Canadian Women Mentorship Program culturally, in terms of having Africans come and join the team there? And then to Ben, I'm hoping Ben is still there. If Ben is still there, the question
I'm still there.
Yeah, the question that is on board for you is regarding, I know you've spoken about the rural financing, but in terms of digitalization, how are we using the digital platform to encourage inclusivity? Are there initiatives that are coming up around this particular area? Those are two questions. Any of you can go first. Donna is there?
Do you want me to start?
Yes, please, just go ahead.
No problem. They're actually, I know it would be called challenges. I think that, when the ladies arrive, of course, and when they're getting ready to travel to the credit unions, you're not really knowing quite what to expect when you get there. What it's going to be like, what to be expected, the home that you're going to be staying in. But I have found that has been quickly overcome when the ladies arrive with their hosts. They make them feel very welcome, as does the credit union. So I don't know that it's so much a challenge, it's just to overcome any concerns or worries that anybody has about, when they're going to be going to the hosts or what to expect. What I do want to say is the greatest challenge is, as I was mentioning, we had over 125 applications, of which at least half or more than half are qualified to attend the program, and wishing that we could have so much more or so much more often a program to be able to accommodate all these enthusiastic participants. So the challenge is not being able to accommodate as many people as we would like. There's some limitations in terms of how many we can have at any one time. So just generally not really challenges, just part of the building the confidence of these ladies when they come with these new experiences. They are always, everyone, very enthusiastic and very engaged in the program throughout the whole thing.
Thank you. Affirming that culture is a way of doing things. And thank you for that response. For Ben, the question is about more of digitalization. Do you think this is an area that support inclusivity?
Yes, it is. I mean, I think it's a very good question. Actually, and this is more about youth also. I think it's about everything, but we noticed that, and we're looking at ways to develop and to work with professional IT developers to provide the tools that are necessary. I mean, the best way to reach some areas, it's about areas and people. You know, some areas you can't open a branch. It's too far, or it's too remote, it's difficult, it's not enough of a market. But you still, you know, people have banking needs over there. They have savings needs, they have loans needs. So there is work to be done. The digital finance, and it's about, for me, it's about access. So it's a great tool to reach people in the countryside. It's a great tool also to reach the youth, sorry, because of course they have a tendency to do more of these things than anybody else, and it might be easier than to go into a branch, which sometimes can be a bit more into banking system, a bit formal. So yes, I think it is. We are looking actually at projects in order to see if we could develop tools. I'm specifically thinking about one interesting tool that I saw. Actually, it was, I think, it was a tool I saw in Kigali. There was a developer there that actually was going around with they had developed some kind of a pad that you could do all your banking, everything. You can manage. It was like a branch, right? Like a sack of branch. You can do everything. You can open an account, take the name of the person, transfer money, receive money. And so not only is it great to have the client on digital, but also sometimes your branch can be digital, totally digital. It can be just, you can actually hold your branch in your pocket. So it's an incredibly useful ways to reach inclusivity. And TDF is looking at different ways to find a project that could help us start something in that field. Just to pick up on what Donna was saying too, I want to say, yeah, the Women Mentorship Program is very successful. So it works very well for the participant. But what is very important too is that it works very well with the credit unions in Canada. They are amazed by the project. They love it. It is very much into, it's going back to the roots. It's going back to helping each other in the co-op and credit union sectors. Dorothy came in 2019, and she went to the, if I'm wrong, she was at CCUA, so the Credit Union Association conference. It was a wonderful event. There were 1,000 credit union director and CEOs in the room, and they were very impressed, very, very impressed. It is a project that is very dear to the heart of the Canadian Credit Union Association. Unfortunately, we had the COVID-19, but I can tell you that at the conference this year, there was supposed to be a way bigger event around the Mentorship Program. It had taken the central stage for a long time. So it's you know, this is about synergy, right? It's kind of it works well. We help each other, and it's a win-win situation, I would say. So there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. I know at some point it wasn't that clear, but thank you for the response. Clearly, we can use various ways to see that we support inclusivity agenda as per the cooperative business model that we are trying to engage in. So with that, we'll then move on. Grace, I don't know if there is Google online.
Yes, George, I'm
Google.
online. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Pardon me. It's internet problems here. Can you hear me?
Google, it's okay. Just go ahead.
Hello.
Google,
Okay.
just go ahead.
I attended the Women Mentorship Program in 2013. It was a good experience for me, and I am still in contact with my host. I was hosted by Manitoba CEO at Dolphin Plain Credit Union. Now it's called, I'm not too sure what it's called now. It's called Fusion Credit Union. Before attending the women program, I had no confidence in myself at all. You know, my credit union is dominated by male. So it was difficult for me to take decisions at board level because I didn't believe unto myself. The mentorship program gave me strength. I now fully believe unto myself. It also boosted my confidence. Personally, I am now a confident woman. Hence, I am now an Accosca speaker. It encouraged my ambition as well. I'm now too ambitious. I want to try new things. Well, before attending the program, I had challenges in my circle of membership growth. My circle was not growing at all. So when I came back, I know what to do. I opened a bond. I innovated program. Hello? I innovated product. I innovated products that directly cater for my members' needs. With the bond opening, I have taken on board more than 20 companies now. And I've taken over the varsity students in the country. They're now my members. I have took on board students as well at high school level. I have established some stakeholders relationships with other people as well. The junior achievements is also part of my credit union. For what I'm doing to other people, I'm mentoring ladies in the circle industry, and I also volunteer in my church for my financial assistance. The personal impact that I got from attending this program, I now hold key positions in several boards, be it in the apex and ministerial level. I am also a leader in Eswatini's sister society. I thank Canada for bringing this thing to me personally and also making my circle grow. My circle is now regarded as one of the best circles in the country because of the skills I obtained from attending this program in Canada. I will encourage other ladies in Africa to attend this Canada because when you come back, you are not the same person. I thank Accosca and Canada for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Google. I can attest to the growth that Google has had since she attended the program, and she's one of the key leaders, respected managers in the Southern Bloc, and also actively engaged within a Accosca framework. So this is a clear example of, again, what this kind of program does. I can't ever overemphasize more than saying the relationship between Accosca and CDF. This is a program, if you go to Canada, your responsibility is just to go and learn and come and make an impact back in Africa. your SACCO doesn't have much financial obligation other than to support you by supporting your application. One of the challenges that we've experienced as Accosca when you're getting through this process is at times we have more of board members also want to apply. This is something that is designed for managers, people at the operation level who most of the time do not have this kind of opportunity. So with that, I know we are just about to close. Grace, if I don't know if you had Precious online. If not, we'll just
Precious.
move.
She's back. I hope we can hear her now. Precious, are you there? Well, unfortunately, George, we seem to have lost her again.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry for that. So Precious is one of those who've gone through the program, and she's been active in Nigeria, supporting this kind of initiative and being at the forefront of supporting the establishment of sister society in Nigeria, and actively involved in this particular issue, even in the Western Africa region. One of the things that I like to say in terms of closing, I've seen a question that is being asked in regard to there's a real challenge emerging as a result of COVID, particularly in gender-based violence. How will you advise women to navigate this? And for me, I think this is a question that can go either way. Because when you're talking about gender, it can be women and it can be men. Of late, there's that challenge. So the response then, I don't know if this should go to the panelists. Donna, if Donna is still there, because I know we're experiencing more of gender-based violence, not just in Africa. I've seen in Europe, the issues about disagreements in families because of people are together. How can you advise women to navigate through this?
Yes, I don't have as direct involvement with the programs that we had. I would ask maybe that Ben could speak to this around programs that we have that are emerging and programs that are existing around the gender violence subject matter, if you would mind.
Yes.
That's okay, Ben can do it.
Yes, it's a very good question. COVID-19 is having an impact, and maybe sometimes you're wondering if it's the disease that has an impact, or all the consequences of the disease that has more of an impact. So yes, there is apparently still a raise in gender violence when it comes all over the world. All over the world, it is very difficult to provide any advice on this. CDF is not really equipped or specialized in gender violence tools. Those are other organizations doing this. I know that people are struggling, and here in Canada, also in Europe and anywhere else, to find a solution to protect women. What I understand is that in some places, in some countries, you can have access to an helpline. You can have access to maybe external resources. I think that one of the best way to do it would be to inform yourself what's existing around yourself, whether the country or the locality or whatnot, just to be protected, to feel secure. I think it's also. I think this is also some time of often a result of. I mean, it's not coming out of the blue. It's probably also because at the in the familial situation itself from the start, there was an issue which is exacerbated by the the fact that you have to be confined. And this is where, you know, on the long term, trying to find a balance within a community, within families, between a task, chores, and responsibility is a way forward. Economic empowerment of women is a good way also to manage the situation. If you are economically empowered, it's easier for you to walk out. It's easier for you to be respected too by your spouse. And so this is where we work when it comes to, this is where CDF works when it comes to gender demands. Again, it's not something we're specialists at all, but we do believe that the economic empowerment of women provides the balance so that there will be a reduction of those unfortunate, events. I mean, COVID-19, and I can announce this because it has been impacting a lot of different sectors. You know, I think one of your questions in the webinar was about food security. And I see this not be something that your membership needs. But some of the co-ops, agricultural co-ops we work with, for them it's a bit more of a priority right now. The government of Canada has asked CDF to intervene and to provide support in Ghana and in Ethiopia, up to $2 million, where we provide inputs, agricultural inputs, equipment, just to make sure that people can actually produce, but also that there is a storage facility that they can access to market. The problem with COVID-19 is, you know, is one of the problems. It's not only people getting sick, it's what's going to happen in the following month. And food security, making sure that farmers can sell, can produce and sell is a big, big issue. And so it's kind of a, sometimes it can be seen as a time bomb, to tell you the truth, when it comes to food security. So we'll see where it goes. We are intervening there also, but it is certain that this disease has been exacerbating some of the trouble we already have on the world. Interestingly too, you know, it's also interesting because it's revealing things that we need to work on. And even here, you know, people are starting talking more and more about, you know, producing local, like using, you know, not exporting everything, importing everything, or maybe allowing farmers to produce and sell locally, not maybe doing as much as cash crops we used to do, listed for export, but just produce for the community. So it is an interesting subject. Again, when it comes to the gender balance, I'm not a specialist there, but the empowerment is a long-term solution, middle-term solution, mid-term solution that I think is very strong.
Thank you, Ben. I know we are having challenge in terms of connectivity there. Thank you. And again, in regard to that particular question, this is something that is now happening, affecting both groups, men and women. So one of the things that we can do as financial cooperatives is to support equal empowerment, so that in times of crisis like this, everybody feels empowered to support the other. So that is the best we can start building in terms of long-term prevention measures, so that we don't encounter this kind of challenge as we move forward. But again, it's more of empowerment in an equal manner, so that not only one group feels excluded in the benefits that they can derive from the cooperative sector. With this, I know we've come to the end of our webinar. In terms of way forward, I'd like to say that one of the key projects that Accosca hopes to implement in the next couple of weeks is the Voice project, which you've had Ben, the ED of CDF, explained. We intend to engage with the professionals from Canada to come and support us in terms of the skills gap in the continent. And we'll be sharing more with the team as time goes by. But we've selected a couple of countries that we are going to work in. And I can say at this particular moment, more details will be given to you at a later date. So with this, we'll then ask we'll go into just a brief, the next webinar series. The next webinar series is, we'll have Jim. And again, one of the capacity building initiatives that Accosca is doing is it's changing our way of doing things. And I'm glad that the attendance on the webinars have been pretty high. And we are getting more people who want to listen, and more people off the continent and within the continent who want to support Accosca initiatives. So the next engagement is going to be on the 30th, understanding members' needs in the wake of disruption. I'd like to welcome you all to join that when you have that link. Jim is one of the key leaders in US, and he's been very active supporting what we are doing in the continent. With that, I'd like to sincerely thank CDF for the relationship that you've built over time with Accosca. I'd like to thank the ED, Ben, for leading the way. Donna has been with us for a while, supporting all that we are doing. We are very grateful, and we hope we'll continuously have more of our women get through the program, and we'll continue cementing the relationship that Accosca and CDF are having. This is clearly a true representation of one of the key principles of cooperatives, cooperation among cooperatives without borders. We've been working, and we hope that this relationship will help us support the membership across the continent. With that, thank you all, and we'll provide more feedback. We'll share as much detail as possible on what has been discussed. Thank you all, and bye Ben, and bye Donna.
Bye.
Gugu, Precious, sorry Precious hasn't been able to connect. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.